Remember me? I was blind to my light, a fight that would hinder me. Ghetto tendency spike while pop serving life penitentiary.
Welcome to Unsigned Hype episode 11. On this episode, I have the pleasure to talk to the incredible artist Ray from Atlanta. Prior to our interview, I asked Ray which song he would play for someone that wasn't familiar with his music yet. Ray chose the song Shine, and if you're not familiar with Ray's music yet, here's a snippet of that song before we jump into the interview.
Into the universe when rap universally spit pocket big, whether right or wrong. Hip hop became my prophet. Every song I would sing alone was hard to praise religion and suspicion within its tone.
This is Unsigned Hype. The song you just heard is called Shine by Ray, who's joining us from his truck, actually, in Florida today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Ray, why is Shine the song you would play for someone that has never heard your music before?
Oh, well, that's a very personal song to me. I think when it comes down to Shine, for me, it's the best way of my rendition to give people an opportunity to truly see the light within themselves. That's my best representation that I feel like I have in my catalog so far. And that's what I represent. I represent trying to be, the highest form of myself. So I pray in ways that you can find it within yourself. And Shine does that for me, So that's why.
Are you there yet? Are you at the highest form of yourself, would you say?
No, that's a great question, but I'm not. And I have conversations with my father a lot, and we talk about this. My father is actually, and I'm not sure how deep you have been into my actual catalog and studying the music, but I talk about my father being in prison right now. So me and my father have these conversations. I have these conversations with my brothers about the higher form of self and just getting there. And I'm not there yet because there's still always going to be uncoverings and unravelings of spirit and getting to that higher form. And there's mistakes made along the way. And we've been, as people, not even just speaking with me individually, but we as people have been blocked away from a lot of the information and a lot of the aspects of what really made us who we are and what we were really here to be. We deal with a lot of, I'll just say, iniquity. I've dealt with a lot of iniquity and what made people may consider a lot of sin within my life, being born into this earth form. I still have time to grow. I still have time to learn. I still don't get it right all of the time, and we still as people, and I don't always like to just speak as if I'm trying to be egotistical and always talking about myself, but the reality is we as people, and particularly who I represent, Black people, because I represent a certain part of Black culture and identity. We don't truly know who we are. We don't have that identification. And I'm still one of those people that don't really know fully who I am and have the identification of where I truly come from. So you have to have that, I personally believe, in order to be the higher form of yourself and how to truly connect with God outside of always having to rely on religion or always having to rely on books. So it's a constant struggle. It's a constant battle. But as long as you can acknowledge, as long as me as a man, as a person, acknowledge that I'm not perfect, but I strive to be the higher form and I'm striving to get there every day, and acknowledging my faults, because that's important. If I can acknowledge my faults along the way, then we're okay,
Do you feel like your artistic side and making music has gotten you closer to that?
Absolutely. Hip hop and music in general has helped resurrect my life. So I am a advocate with the power of what music can do. Music has an opportunity to heal, or it has an opportunity to destroy. And music and hip hop has done both in my life, but it has been very pivotal in my development as a man. It's been very pivotal. So yes, my music has, others' music has, absolutely.
When does Ray start making music as an artist? Because I feel I think on Spotify, when you look at your discography, your first releases come out in March 2022. With I think your first official release on Spotify was Lately. Was there
Mm-hmm.
more stuff before that? And how did you
Bro,
start getting into music?
bro, the archives is deep. That's what I like. The archives is deep. I started releasing music with my brother Kwanzaa. We was releasing music, whew, maybe 2016 when we started. So it might have been about 5 or 6 years ago when we officially started releasing on SoundCloud, and we was releasing almost as a duo. We would release loose tracks, of course. I would do some separate things, he would do separate things, but we would come together and we would do music and we would just release it on SoundCloud. But my point was, we weren't really promoting it, and I'll speak specifically for myself. I wasn't really promoting the music, but it was something deeper behind that. It was because more than anything, I was afraid, man. I was afraid of what I had to say and the fact that I could be, I could be, what's the word I'm looking for? I could be chastised for the way that I felt about things, or I could lose certain things because of the way that I felt about things or what I had to say.
Can
I
you give
was
an
very
example,
afraid.
a specific example of something that made you feel afraid?
Yeah, well, one of the main things is we see how much we see how much difficulty it is to be a person that has a perspective that goes against a traditional norm, that doesn't get some type of penalties when it comes to the government, when it comes to the societies that form that government, right? Or the governments that form that societies, either way you want to look at it. We see what happens to those type of people when they inherit that Messiah-like complex. We see what happens. And so I was afraid, I was afraid to die, or I was afraid to lose maybe even financial stability, or I was afraid of what people may have thought, just regular people may have thought about my opinions. And so it stifled me from really taking a step to say, hey, this is what I do. And so now that's what you get with me now. I step out and say, hey, this is what I do. This is who I am. And for a while, like I said, I held that back. That's why Shine is very important, I think, for people to listen to, because I understand that people are going through that in a similar fashion, afraid because there's so many talented artists, so many talented artists out there that they don't get any type of recognition. You may never know. It could be one of the greatest MCs on the street or one of the greatest singers on the street, but the world most of the time will never know. And I'm not going to necessarily say it's sad, but it's like these gifts that have been instilled have been utilized and manipulated in the wrong ways because of capitalism and greed and, all type of things and, fear. And so I just decided that I couldn't hold that part back. I had to learn more about marketing and promotion and understanding the business aspect of it and what publishing was, what royalties were, money that you can make from streaming services and how to run advertisements and all these things, just really learning more about the business, but more importantly, being open to say, hey guys, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. This is me. And this is my opinion. This is how I view the world.
Can you describe which thought or which learning led to you making that decision of finally stepping out there and sharing?
Yeah, it's been many in life, but as I said before, me taking on the responsibility of a family, it brought reality to me in a way that had never been brought to me before. I thought that I witnessed struggle and dealt with struggle, which I have in my life, obviously, but nothing really amounted to the pressure and the stress and the strain that I took on when I decided to marry my wife, when we decided that we were going to have a child. That's when things really start getting serious, because I mean, you have to figure it out. you have to find some type of way to make money. Let's be real. You have to find some type of way to find a balance between what you truly love and what you've been doing since you were a child, whether it was money or not, and the demands of the world, the demands of having to take care of your family and inflation being what it is in this economy and everything that's going on within the economy, socially, politically, economically. I have to find a way, and reality just set in, man. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to start posting on TikTok. I'm going to start posting on Instagram. I'm going to just put my freestyles up. I don't know this space. I came from this space. Like when I used to look at these social media platforms, I thought it was more so young children dancing around and, you just got to act out and act crazy.
Yeah.
You got to be on some cool shit. Like, that's really what I thought. That was my perception. Somebody told me one time before I'm going to say this last point. Somebody told me when I was an Uber driver, he got in the car. He said, man, what are you doing? I told him that I was doing music, whatever. So he was like, what are you doing, man? You sound like my granddad. You complaining, but it's like you can go out there and you can promote your music, man. Like, wait, what you talking about? And I didn't understand it right then, but I started to see like, I believe in my music. I believe in the music that me and my brothers were creating. Why would I not go out there and show people that it's here, and do whatever I can?
What do you think is missing? Like, is there something that you're not good at or something that you haven't figured out that makes you not be in the place that you would ideally like to be with your music?
No, not at all. And I definitely want to clarify if I had any misclarification on what I mean, because honestly, I've reached success. I'm not looking for any other success than what I have already accomplished. Everything that I'm doing right now is what I'm supposed to be doing, and where I'm at right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I don't look to have any type of validation from other MCs that have established their wealth or established their careers in a way that others, and at even times in my life when I thought that they might have been above me because they were able to make more money or because they was able to drive nice cars and, have access to certain things because of their status. I don't look to that anymore. I see what my music is doing and what my music has been doing since I started doing it. And now it's continuing to elevate just because I'm deciding to go out there, learn business more, learn how to get it to people, understand that it's a different economy. You could go out there and stand on the street and promote your music, but you can get to a lot of people by understanding the social media game. So, go ahead.
I do want to say that I hope you know that I wasn't judging where you're at in your career. It was just, it's based on what you said. I got a feeling that maybe you were envisioning something more, but I do really respect
Absolutely.
this view of, being content with where you are, and what you've achieved, because you've achieved a lot, and your music is out there and people are listening to it. However, what I am interested in is, you were just mentioning elevating the music. So with you being in the state of being content with what you've achieved and where you currently are, what is the next step for you? What is the next successful moment? Do you think about that, or do you just let things happen and come to you?
I think it's a little bit of both. And just to add on to what you were saying, it was a time when I did look at it like that. When I did look at it, that's why I wanted to make sure that I talked about that briefly, about just me looking at celebrities and looking at a certain aspect of status in the American dream and wanting to acquire that. It has been times, it's been something that I have been fighting with for a very long time, because I've had to deal with so much poverty in life, and there's layers to poverty. Obviously, yeah, like I was saying, there's layers to poverty. My family was fortunate enough to have somewhere to live, but my mother grew up in government housing, or we grew up, me and my sister and my mother, we grew together in government housing, low income. So it's been times when I fought that, man. I've wanted to sign deals and wanted to do, maybe even make certain music make certain music to be able to captivate people in a weird manipulative way so that I can make more money and just get my mom out the hood. That's things that I battle with. But the next step of success, when I look at success, man, I just look at my family. I look at it, what it is I'm doing. I do live within the moment and appreciate it. But success, the next steps of success to me is just continuing to stay in tune in the ways that I already have and just continuing that consistency, having that consistency and that continuity of, work, family, God. It's like just the synchronization of that. It's like everything seems to come together. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be in an order. I know people may have decided they want to say God first, but it's like all of these things work in synchronization. It's like when you truly understand what God is and when you understand, who you are, at least better understand who you are, you understand that, a lot of the things that we were taught was just, it was silly, man. It was silly. So, those things, focusing in on those things allow me to truly see success in a way that's not monetary. That's not, it doesn't have to be, okay, I'm going to, strive to get this many followers on social media, or I know a lot of people do that. I'm not knocking what anybody else does, but I'm very focused on the music. If that's my form of elevating success, it's like, okay, how can I make this music better? How can I challenge myself to write better? Because I want to be a great writer. I don't want to just be just a great rapper. I would much rather be a greater writer and a greater artist, make
but
great
like anything
music.
else, that takes a lot of practice and a lot of time. So I'm wondering, with all the things that you have going on in your life, how do you balance that well? How do you find these moments for yourself to really focus on your craft 100%?
It's just the passion, bro. It's like I love it. I love it so much. It's like I'd do this if you wasn't on this camera. I'd do it if people wasn't listening to my music. I would do it if I never had a penny from it. And I don't make a lot of money from my music. I just started making money from streaming. All praises due. I just started making a little bit of money and seeing some type of ROI. But it's not about that to me. It's like I love it so much that I just do it. It's normal now. Like I told my brother, it's like brushing my teeth. I'm a get me out some songs. I'm gonna get me out some songs, man. It don't matter how I got to do it. If I gotta camp out in the most raggedy car, like, and I gotta sleep there for a month, while my children, my child and my wife, they out here chilling with my dukes, and they good. They eating filet mignon and all that stuff, and I'm in the whip, and I'm eating McDonald's French fries. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. It's just when you love something, when you truly love something, it's like that electrocution that hits your spine. You know what I'm talking about, man. It's like that electrocution that hits your spine. That's when you really tap in, you really tune in to that source, and you like it's go mode. It's like whatever necessary. When you see a lot of things that's going on in society and you want to be a voice, or at least something, some type of objectivity to the buffoonery that's going on, it's like, nah. It's like I'm at least raise my hand and say, look, I got something to say, So I mean, it's all of that, bro. It's all of that, but it comes down to that. It's when you love it, man, you just love it.
No, I totally feel you on that for sure. Like, no question. Yeah. Time for a musical interlude. This is Ray's song, Blood on the Bible, released in 2022.
I made sacrifices for the profit. Get a nigga hit the way I vibe shit. Mama say I need me some religion. I got blood on my Bible and it's dripping. Okay, I'ma wash the op and get his block spin. I feel like I gave up on my conscience. Mama say I need me some religion. I got blood on my Bible and it's dripping. You better
better stay your ass inside this house. Oh, that's my mama yelling, drama propelling, felons is out, holding weaponry that's spelling out melodies when they sprout. It's gotta be the last supper. These wolves got blood in their mouth, and they eating, drilling for no reason. Leave a white tea leaking, time on demon. Now they pray to Jesus, Sunday service preaching from the reverend. Better count your blessings, we take all receiving, no speaking. My why heaven only come round on the weekend. I'm believing this section ain't sleeping. Go one day pass and we see regions of Bel Air from the streets with a gunplay clash. I need my sister in the phantom. $500,000 that's stashed. I'm trying to move around serpents. It's too many in this grass. So do I mold shit? This ain't no whole shit. Keep my focus. I roll with niggas that told clips. Get you smoked quick. I just wanna stay away from problems. Me no like to run into the wild while they screaming out.
Talking about your musical evolution a little bit, the Book of Revelations EP that you put out a year ago. Again, like I haven't deep dived enough into your SoundCloud catalog. So for me, the Spotify things. I mean, let's talk about that. Why not release things on Spotify earlier? Maybe as a first question, why have you only started putting out music on Spotify in 2022?
It go back to just the fear. If you go back, I know I've done posted a lot, but if anybody was to go back and see it, you can clearly see, my first post, at least from this start of what I'm doing, was like, man, I was afraid. I was afraid to take those risks. I didn't want to do certain things because maybe I'm thinking in my mind, like I may have these weird illusions of, oh man, Spotify, they just the big oligarchs, they not this and they not that, which is true. It's very true. But it's like, if you have an opportunity to go to certain people that may be in your lane as far as taste level and the things that they appreciate and like in life, why not? Why not just put it out? And so that's really what it was. It was just being afraid. That goes back to saying, well, I didn't want to post. And, I think that I should do this. It was waiting more than anything, waiting on an opportunity instead of making it happen for myself. So I just stopped waiting. I stopped waiting on that mythical person,
Yeah. And when you look back at the release of that first EP, what are you the most proud of?
The most thing I'm proud of is just being able to give a small glimpse to my story in the best way possible that I personally believe that I could have at that time. And me doing that allows other people to see forms of themselves and, things that they may deal with.
Is there something that you would say you approach differently? Like what you've been recording for many years now and putting out music. But since the release of that EP, what would you say, how do you approach songwriting and putting together a song today versus the last couple of years? Have there been any major learnings, things that you wouldn't do the same way that you did in the past, maybe when creating music?
Yeah, I love that question. So the biggest process in my writing right now is not forcing it. I think a lot of times with my creativity, at times when I wanted to have a certain creative output, I may force it. I may sit there at my desk for hours and hours and stress myself out like, oh man, I gotta figure out something. I gotta figure out this last bar, or I gotta figure out this structure of this song. And now it's more so just like what's flowing. How do I feel? If I can't gravitate towards that snare, that melody in the first 1 to 2 seconds, I'm not worried about it. I'm going to keep moving forward. If I don't write that profound thing that I may have wanted to write within that session, I go live life and I come back. So it's been very difficult for me what I'm doing now is I'm having a streamline of consciousness, I would say. Like I'm having a different song that I'm working on throughout my process. If I finish writing it, then I finish. But if I don't, I don't. I got 7 or 8 right now that I'm living with. I'm just really living life and seeing how can I add to it as I learn things, as I read, as I talk to different people in my life, as I live life, as I pray. It's like, okay, I'll come back to it when it's time, instead of just feeling like I gotta finish this one.
I think overall, I'm really, really impressed by your positivity and your attitude towards chasing your dream, but also, being so humble and I don't know, for lack of a better word, relaxed about it. I do wonder though what you think about, this time that we're living in that is so fast paced, and you need to have content out all the time, and you need to have music out all the time. So with you taking your time putting out music means, people are not, might not be. Yeah, I'm missing the
You can
words.
say it. Okay.
No, I'm really missing the words. But
Okay.
people might check out something else really quick. What did you think I was going to say? That's interesting.
Well, people, a lot of people would, and I cannot stand when we call people that love music and that listen to music consumers. I cannot stand that, bro. Like, I really can't.
I
But
agree with that.
but no, most people though, truly, most people, it's a very selfish thing when they listen to music. You can look in the comments of social media, or you can see people when they do music reviews and things of that nature. It's like they expect the music when they expect the music, or they expect their artists, the artists that they enjoy, they expect them to be a certain way. Like, they have their own misconceptions about this person, and then they throw that on them. It's like, hold up, like, you have to live life. And for me, I don't really get caught up in it anymore. And I can speak on how I used to, because I fought through it, man. Like, I really have. I cannot say that I'm any greater than anybody, because I fought through that of caring about what people thought. But I don't really care about what people think anymore. I want to hear people's perspective if they're genuine. But I don't go into my music process or anything that I truly do, even when it comes to promoting my music. I don't look for any validation. I'm not like, oh, they gonna like this when I do this, and I don't really think of it in that way. It's like, okay, the music is here. How can I package it up and make it the best that I can with the time that I have, the resources that I have, to the best form that represents me? It represents me. And so I don't live for that validation of anybody, because, it's just a different mission. It's a higher mission. It's a higher calling from God, bro. And so when you understand that, you're not really moved by a lot of the worldly aspects of things.
But wouldn't you agree that you need, to be a successful, however you want to define successful, obviously, we all have different definitions of that. And I wouldn't want to put numbers or a definition behind the word successful, but you still do need the validation from people. Maybe not their opinion on whether or not your music is good, but people validating your art means that they're going to keep following your art and keep appreciating your art. So where do you draw that line?
Well, when I speak about validation, maybe the definitions could be misconstrued. When we define, let me ask you a question. When we define validation, what is your definition of validating something?
Maybe I think what you were alluding to was the fact that people, just share their opinion on it, on whether or not it's good. To me, validation would mean they approve of something, but I get your point that people, okay, maybe now I'm getting to what you were trying to say. Maybe is we don't need people's approval to approve of our art. We can still do it. This is kind of what you were alluding to, right?
That's it, bro. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Because
I
agree with what you were. I agree with what you were getting at, because you want people to appreciate it. It's like I have to be real. If I put out my music and nobody respond, if I'm doing all of this work, right, and nobody responded, I would be like, something going on. Like, is the music not right? So you're going to be able to gauge what's going on, and you make your moves based on whatever you have based in terms of the response, right? So the responses are definitely great, and it's necessary as you build community. That's why I also wanted to say with what I was saying. I appreciate when people give their opinion that have a great, I would say, rapport with music critiquing and music curation. Like people that really enjoy music and, they study music. I appreciate those people when they may validate a great song, like it's cool. But when we draw the line, it's like, I'm not emotionalizing and internalizing these things for any type of, fulfillment of my ego. I keep moving. If somebody likes the music, that's great. If somebody doesn't like the music, that's great. I don't regardless, I don't need the validation. We've been conditioned to believe that we need the validation as artists. We don't necessarily need the validation. We just always have wanted to be accepted in life. We've seeked acceptance our whole life. We've been sold acceptance and, come over here with the white picket fence. I don't have to have the white picket fence. What if I want to paint it black? Like,
Yeah. What was a moment, maybe recently, where you were, where things were changing for the better again? Not to say that things weren't good before that, but what is the kind of improvement that you see in your music currently, and where do you want to take it? What is the next step that you want to take with your music career?
Man, I want to grow with the music every day, bro. And I could have a lot of deep philosophical things to say about it, but bro, I just really want to grow with the music. I want to be able to be intentional with every single word. I want to be able to be intentional with every single melody, every single loop, every single drum kick. I just want to make sure that the intent is always aligned with what it is that I stand for and why I started. If I can continue on that, then it's a mission well accomplished. It's everything that I need. It's crazy, bro, because I mean, if you asked me that maybe 2 years ago, I would have said something else. Maybe I did have all of these dreams of wanting to be one of the greatest writers and share stages, not even necessarily share stages with bigger MCs, but at least be able to be on similar stages to compete with them. Because I know I'm just as talented or better, So, I mean, at this point now, it's just like, bro, if I can get the music out, if I can just continue to learn certain business acumens that I need to learn, if I can make the genuine connections with people across the world, based on me just doing what I'm doing, if I can continue to do that and just, keep that at a high level, I mean, it's nothing that can really stop me at that point, It's like,
then,
we don't need
you will
the
have the
labels.
big stages, right? I mean, the big stages are not off the table for you. Once you get to that point, you could still share big stages with other artists or bigger artists or smaller artists. Is that something you're not considering at all anymore? Is that not a dream that you pursue?
Well, yeah, I mean, the big stages can obviously be subjective on what we think is a big stage, right?
Of course,
when I was identifying with a big stage, I'm gonna just be real with you, bro. I was like, boy, I'm ready to compete with Kendrick and Cole and Big Sean and all of them. I'm like, what's up?
As you should.
Yeah, but I mean, but to me, it definitely is. It's important to me more than anything to just have genuine people there at the show. Like I don't necessarily like when people go to shows and they just go there to get the popcorn and get the food and dance around, and then they leave when a person like J. Cole does their For Your Eyes Only. When they do that song that is a really genuine deep cut, and it's like, oh, it's time to go. Workout done went off, or what's the one that people they be going crazy to the other one. He got him. He got them. He got the ones that be having the stadium jumping.
For sure.
But you get the stadium jumping, and then you do it For Your Eyes Only, and it's like, oh, time to go. I don't really like that, bro. Like, I'm not even that type of person. Even if I'm not resonating with the song, I want to stay and hear the artist out. So I'm more on the indie wave, bro. Like, I'm more on the indie wave. I'm more on the underground community of having people that genuinely want to be at the show, and they know the music. They did some studying. Even if they may not know me, they understand music. They have a certain respect for music and the artistry. That's more what I'm concerned about doing that. I would much rather have that than a big stadium, to be honest with you.
Time for another musical interlude. This is Ray's song, The Pressure, released in 2023.
My granddad made a really great point. He said, learn the rules to engagement. And I was thinking, why you ain't teach me none of that, man? We barely giving game, we just getting played by the game. Bills been raking up, still been baking up soul food for your children. His stay double stuff, Tyson went uppercut, he know while I'm whipping. Broke boys out of touch, step back, knuckle up while I dust off my mittens. Raps like Piccolo, Hooks and Smith & Show, I don't know why we mixing. I just wanna track back home, but they tap my phone, they don't hold no punches. But I got a hook up, love the way I cook up, I stay packed like lunches. Used to cash 20 on the check, God know I'm blessed, I can't complain at all. But it's all maintained and all. This pressure feel trying to make a play. I've been skipping meals, think I need a play. Pressure pile up and weighs on my mind, weighs on my mind. How it weighs on my mind, weighs on my mind. World on fire, I barely made rent, they done repo my Toyota. Used to have dreams of a Rover, 10 black, how could I forget that? Nowadays I'm so tired, I done swerved my ride, had to curb my pride, too many miles over. Times I drowned in a pound of my own crowds, hell sliding lower.
Talking about the underground, I'm wondering if you had other artists that might just be about to start their own career in music and who are relatively new and trying to find their own way. What are unsigned artists that I should interview next, according to you?
Man, when you told me about this part of the interview, I'm like, man, I've been really finding a lot of them. I've been finding a lot of dope artists on TikTok and different social media platforms. Man,
I mean, shout them out. There's no limits.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think, bro. You gonna make me pull out the phone and have to look like
do it.
I'm like, who I got on the TikTok, man. Cause it's a one MC. He another MC, man. He be spitting. He really be spitting. Let me see. I got two on. And I'm sorry, y'all, whoever I ain't named, cause I got plenty. But two of them that stick out to me, I like with Jay Sean's. It's spelled J, and it's SAENZ. And I like what he's doing.
Jay Sans, okay. Or Sans.
Yeah, I like what he's doing. And it's another one. His name is, I don't want to mispronounce it. I think it's Mike, but it's spelled MICMIKE.
Mike.
I like him.
Cool.
Yeah, I like what both of those guys are doing, and I just kept it strictly hip hop. I kept it on some rap shit because, I see a lot of what's going on. It's others. I like this guy named Jev. Jev is cool. I like what he does when he promotes, but he also has good music. It's another one. His name is Young Senju. I like what Young Senju is doing. they have a little bigger platforms as far as, you know, social media is concerned, their following and whatnot, their streams and things like that. But the first two that I named, they're really like, you know, underdogs for real. Like, I don't even know that they might have more or less Spotify listeners than me, you know. So it's a lot of talented people out here that's still just trying to figure it out, and they really some spitters, you know.
Absolutely. Hey, maybe to slowly get into the last questions of this interview, I'd be interested in knowing what you wish you would have known about the whole music industry and getting into it prior to becoming a part of it.
Man, come on, bro. That's a very, very loaded question that I could be here for a long time with that. Man, I wish I would have known how fake this shit is, bro. Like, I wish I would have known how fake it was. I wish I would have known all of the things you have to go through, you know, just as an artist. You know, you just go through a lot of phases. Like, I'm not even going to focus on the wild shit that goes on in the music industry necessarily, and how that's a lot of trickery in itself. But just even speaking as an artist, you know, I really thought that, okay, I need to go get a deal. You know, I need to go get a deal, man. Or, oh, okay, I'm going to put out music on SoundCloud, and eventually somebody's going to find it and somebody's going to sign me. Or, you know, my fan base, quote unquote, my fan base, like, they're going to find me. You know, they're going to find us. Because like I told you, me and my brother, we was really putting in work, rapping for a minute, like putting out material, and it was heat. To us, it's heat. Like, to us, it's heat. And so, like, man, I was really under the impression that you didn't need as much promotion and you didn't need as much marketing if the music was good. You know, that's one of the biggest illusions that I had, you know, from a personal perspective. Because, like I said, we can get into the different nuances and the trickery in the music industry per se. But if I want to speak from an individual standpoint, yeah, it would have to be just thinking that the music would just, you know, fall into a lot of people's ears, or it would be this executive or CEO that would come from somewhere and find me, you know.
Yeah, but when you mention trickery, and I think that's always that's always so interesting, is the rap of the music industry is a pretty negative one. Like, it's artists always talk about the music industry as an industry that is out to get you, and I feel that the trickery you're alluding to. What's the alternative to that? What would be a music industry without trickery? How would that look like to you? I don't know if that question makes sense, but I think you know what I'm getting to.
No, I get it. Well, I'm an advocate of anybody that's an artist staying indie. You know, I'm never going to be the one. If people come to me and asking me what should they do, if they ask, I'm always tell you stay indie. I ain't gonna never tell you to sign. That's just me. So when I think about the music industry, at least from all of the labels, I just think about a lot of exploitation, and it's going to continue. It's no different from it's different in certain aspects that I'm not going to speak about right now. But when it comes to monetary aspects and exploitation, you know, it's very similar to minimum wage jobs. It's very similar to the capitalism. I mean, it's the same capitalism that has always fueled society around the world. And it's been based off of slavery. You know, it's been based off of everybody, just all of these artists just bearing their souls, and, you know, like literally bearing their souls and giving their souls and getting small pennies, you know, for the work that they've put out. The disrespect that happens in the music industry, you know, it's just a lot of exploitation that I can't get with. I mean, you don't even have to go too far to see it.
But why do you think they do that?
What you're looking at, you see it.
Do you think that artists do that because of the big dream that eventually something will come out of it?
Absolutely. And then, if you want to really, because I'm telling you, man, this is a very important topic, but it's a very long topic and discussion that could be had. But it's one of the most important things of this conversation. So a lot of people, especially coming from my situation, where they may have not had shit, they may have not had nothing. They literally may have came from the bottom, for real. They want a piece of the pie. You want to be able to get your mama out the hood, like I was talking about. Like, you want to be able to do things, and you think that that's going to get you a certain level of peace and clarity. You think that's you living out the dream that you seen when you was a little child singing with the brush. Like when you was singing with the brush and when you was in the mirror, it's like you think that it's a certain type of way, but then you get it and it's like, whoa. It was nothing like you expected because you seen the illusion when you was on the opposite end of the TV screen. I'm very, very passionate about this particular portion of our conversation because I understand it, because I was once that young child. I was that young child that was under the illusion that, okay, if I go this way, then this is the best alternative. And I started to realize very quick through life, it's like, no, it's just not. It's not what I could align myself with. It's not what I could align myself with. Now, I want to make it very clear and say that there are opportunities for artists to be able to do deals. I think the smartest deal, in my personal opinion, is a single deal, but that's when you build up the leverage to even be able to go into a record label's office or have a conversation with a record label, and you got leverage. And you got a lawyer, and you know how to read contracts. Because I personally believe, and I can't 100% prove this, but I believe the music industry may have some of the most maniacal and dirty contracts that there are. I mean, music is too powerful. Music is too powerful. So it's like I'm willing to stay as far away as I need to. I can do what I'm doing over here. The people that are similar to me, we do what we do over here, and we're going to be okay. And, I'm not trying to scare anybody. Like, people are going to do what they want no matter what, but I'm an advocate for ownership. I'm an advocate of integrity, and morals and, family and a sense of peace. I want to see my people, my Black people have peace. I want to see them smiling at the cookouts and being able to enjoy their life, because that's all we really got at this point. It's been so much taken away. We got to be able to have a sense of clarity and a sense of peace through all the chaos that we dealing with already, and a lot of that stuff is, like I said, bro, we can go on and on. It's like America, in my particular country, and I'm sure it's in yours too. It's like they have this perception of the men have to work, or now it's even, the women have to work, the whole family got to work, and then they're taken away from the children. You're so busy working that you're taken away from the children. You're not even able to be with your children like you want to. And I'm facing that difficulty right now. That's why I'm trying to get my experience, and I'm trying to get out with the trucking industry and become an owner operator so I can make my schedule. So I can be home with my son, because a father's presence is important. We see how much these people go on tour. We see how much they invested in their careers. Then, they feel like you just got to stay on top of it. You got to be this and you got to be that. I got to be this and I got to look for this image. That's why I talked about the validation, because though it's certain people, it's a lot of people in the industry that still look for validation. We think that they're a certain type of way, but it's like, nah. They really be worse off in a spiritual aspect and a mental aspect than us. Them artists be going insane. When you listen to their music, you hear it. People just not listening to the music. Y'all not paying attention. And I'm not saying everybody. Obviously, we have people that do pay attention. And I'm sure you do pay attention. You are a curious mind. Like you are somebody that you can look between the lines and say something ain't right there. We got people out there. But it's very few and far in between of the ones that get caught in the illusion and the ones that don't. But we all most likely have dealt with it in some form or fashion because we've just all been a part of this system, whether it was America or where you're from, sir. So, I mean, the conversation is dense, and I love having conversations about that. You know, I love having conversations about the music industry and, you know, my advocacy for independence.
And I have to say, I have the utmost respect, maybe for the listeners. You know, you are sitting in your truck, you are working as a truck driver, you know, going from state to state. And we're currently recording this while you're sitting somewhere in your truck, talking about music, about your passion for music. And I think that's really, really inspiring and really incredible. Also, needless to say that you're an incredible artist, for sure. So
thank you.
So I hope that you keep going, and I'm sure you will. Maybe as a final question, you know, with all the ups and downs that this brings in life, and you know, these questions that we've talked about, what do you do this all for?
My family, bro. Excuse me. My family. And it obviously starts with my wife and my son. Those are the ones that I identify with. Those are the ones I wake up to. Those are the ones that FaceTime me the most. And, you know, I got the deepest connection to on that level. But when it comes down to it, I just represent, like I said from the very beginning, I represent a certain type of energy. So, you know, I do it for my brothers, you know, my brothers that may be dealing with situations in their life. You know, I do it. And when I say brothers, I'm speaking about, you know, my two brothers, Kwanzaa, Curtis, man, I love y'all. But I'm also speaking to, you know, the people that are similar to us, the people that represent similar paths that we do. You know, the ones that they may feel like that they ain't nothing in society. You know, they may not be able to truly articulate themselves in a way to express how they truly feel. So they resort to violence or they resort to being closed off. You know, I represent the ones that's strung out on drugs right now. Like, I got people that really, it's this lady that the way that she was speaking about my music, man, it was almost like it was healing her. It was calling her out and she was getting frustrated. She was like, man, I'm mad at you because your music is making me face a lot of my problems. You know, so I do it for people like that. I do it for the ones that's on Section 8, man. Like, I do it for the ones that's over there in not even just Israel and Palestine right now. You know, because it's been a lot of protests. It's been a lot of drone strikes that's been going on around the world. You know, I do it for the ones that's getting drone strikes on their communities for the reasons of exploitation and power, like we spoke about earlier. You know, I do it for the ones that truly represent, you know, God's nature and God's love, but have been tainted through systems of oppression. You know, that's it, bro. That's it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for this really insightful conversation. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, man. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless.
Simmer like babies prone to the powder. The land of broken dreams, my lord. We cry war by swords, how we divide the power.
This was Unsigned Hype episode 11 with Ray. The track you're hearing right now is called Smile Down. It's Ray's newest single, and you will find the song in the Unsigned Hype podcast playlist, along with all other songs discussed in this episode. Make sure to support Ray by checking out his music and following him on social media. And for your weekly Unsigned Hype, make sure to also follow us on Spotify and Instagram. All the links are in the show notes below.
From all the views and ratings, post-Jews and sedations, red and blue news investigations, and it's all for the game, and it's all for consumption, and it's all entertainment, slave waste, degraded malfunctions. Now they labeled us black soul fables and crack cocaine. Look how we rap and roll afloat, still trying to cope with all this pain. On God, come down, make my sins wash away. Waterfalls from all around.